Hello all, my name is Matthew Weeks and I am an undergraduate student enrolled at Westchester University. I am currently a senior aspiring to become a physical therapist. The course that is requiring me to complete this project is Exercise Science, Prescription to Special Populations. I have chosen to expand upon the medical disorder cerebral palsy. Why I chose this is because my mother is a student aide who helps a teenage girl living with this disability. She began when Emmy was in elementary school, and now she was getting ready to become a freshman in high school. I wanted to do as much research as possible so I can give more insight on this condition. During my presentation, I will be discussing the definition of cerebral palsy, the signs and symptoms, accommodations in everyday life, prevalence, causes, medications and treatment, exercise prescription, along with a personal case study. Mayo Clinic defines cerebral palsy as a disorder of movement, muscle tone, or posture caused by the damage of the developing brain. In most cases, nerve damage occurs while the baby is still developing in the mother's womb. Even though this is when the damage is occurring, signs and symptoms of having cerebral palsy appear during the child's preschool years. The image to our right is a recent x-ray of my mother's student that she cares for. As we can see, she lives with major scoliosis or a sway in the spine. This is just one of many symptoms that occurs while having cerebral palsy. There are many signs and symptoms that come with this condition. A short list of signs is if a person lacks muscle coordination, has a delay in motor skills, involuntary movements occur, and scoliosis, as I mentioned before. Two major symptoms are difficulty walking due to an asymmetric gait, and if a person is favoring his or her one side of the body. If we look to the image to the right, we can see her leaning to the right while sitting upright in a chair. The doctor may order a series of tests in order to make an initial diagnosis. These tests include an MRI using radio waves to detect abnormalities in the brain, or even use cranial ultrasound using sound waves to take images of the brain. Even though there are many disabilities associated with this disorder, we can make accommodations to improve the quality of life. Let's take a second to look how people living with cerebral palsy are able to participate in everyday life events.
Alright, let's rock. Let's rock. Rock this party. Success. Alright, carve it up, Ben!
It's amazing to see how fast she is able to ski and have fun with her family while not being able to walk or balance properly. The world needs more people like her. It's motivating to all, and we all need to be more aware of how far mental strength can get us. After covering the background on what cerebral palsy is and how it may affect a person, let's take a look at how common this is. From the graph, we can take away that the rates of cerebral palsy over a 17-year study have stayed constant. 1 in every 520 to 550 children are born with cerebral palsy. Centers for Disease reported this from examining births in a metropolitan area in Atlanta. What we can take from this research is that it is hard to trigger the direct cause, so it is hard to treat before it occurs. Which leads us to our next topic: what causes this disorder? As I mentioned, cerebral palsy is developed by a disruption in brain development. It can occur through genetic mutations, fetal strokes, or infections around the brain. All of these show a lack of oxygen to the brain. These causes develop during pregnancy where the mother could have had chickenpox, herpes, syphilis, or even just having exposure to toxins. If you are diagnosed with CP, there are treatments and medications that are used to help. Physical and occupational therapists are also used with mental health specialists. Physical therapy is used for muscle training and motor development. Occupational therapists use alternative strategies to promote independent participation in daily activities. Lastly, speech therapists can improve a person's ability to speak and communicate within a classroom. In addition, medications are used to help loosen or lessen the tightness of muscle and improve functionality. Examples of medications prescribed are Valium, Dantrium, and Gabapentin. Oral Botox injections directly to the muscle or nerve can help improve drooling. Though there are multiple medications we can use, exercise should be our main dosage. Mr. NC is a 5-year-old boy living with quadriplegic cerebral palsy. His blood pressure is elevated and measured at 138/82. Due to his age, doctors are staying away from blood pressure medication, but suggest parents should monitor it throughout the day. He is prescribed 2 10 mg Valium a day to help loosen muscle and delay any further tightness. His parents are worried that it may develop problems in his speech, so he sees a specialist once a week for an hour session. He spends most of his time with his mother working on puzzles and matching to refine his skills. Mr. NC also sees an occupational and physical therapist weekly to prevent common symptoms of cerebral palsy. Let's look at the exercise prescription of a person living with CP. Exercises prescribed can help cope with some of the common symptoms that come along with cerebral palsy. This includes flexibility, gait training, balance, and neurological development. We also have to take into account that there is a wide variety of symptoms that ties with cerebral palsy, and individual observations are needed to be made. One person may have bad balance, while another might just have tight muscles that need to be tested. The cerebral palsy group suggests there is no one development play for treating people with cerebral palsy. NCG PAD reports the exact frequency, intensity, time, and type of exercises for people with CP are unknown. This is due to the fact that a person lacks motor control and energy exposure is low. Aerobic exercises should be short and done at moderate intensity. Examples of aerobic exercises are stationary biking, water aerobics, or even guided walking. The use of short intervals and stretching in between sessions can help decrease fatigue. Resistance training is big for people to treat CP. The goal is to target weak muscle groups and to improve strength. Exercises should be done slow and controlled, working through the range of motion. Lastly, be sure to include a warm-up and cool-down while working with a patient with CP. Special considerations for working with the patient might be making sure they have good position of the head, neck, trunk, and legs. Also, the use of Velcro gloves and straps can help attach the body to the equipment. In conclusion, I hope that I provided the necessary information needed to understand cerebral palsy. To highlight, cerebral palsy is defined as a disorder of movement, muscle tone, or posture caused by the damage of the developing brain. The cause of this is hard to define because it develops inside the mother's womb, but some examples are fetal strokes or genetic mutation that affect the lack of oxygen to the brain. Because CP is hard to detect, it is also hard to treat. The rates have stayed the same over a 17-year case study done in Atlanta. Some symptoms are muscle weakness, an asymmetric gait, and delays in motor skills. Even though these are common symptoms, each person living with CP is affected differently. People that have cerebral palsy show signs in their early years and see specialists to help cope with their disability. Exercise can help gain better balance, increase flexibility, and improve O2 circulation to the brain. It is truly medicine. Exercise prescription are aerobic stationary biking and resistance training working through the range of motion and targeting weak muscle groups. If proper precautions are taken to treat CP, we could find a miracle and allow people to move on their own without the assistance of an aid. Let's look at a short video of a major response to a surgery that was performed on my mother's student. Doctors had told Emmy that she will never be able to take a step. This just shows how far mental strength and a good supporting group can get us. We are hoping that Emmy stays walking and that more things come to her. Here are my citations that I've used to conduct this project and deliver a message and introduce a disability some of you may never even heard before. Thank you for your time.